We need to have a talk about brainwashing and how prevalent it has become in the West. Now, most of the time when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about people on the left because it's systemic for liberals. But I am seeing a precipitous rise with conservatives. Now, most of the time when I'm talking about brainwashed idiots, I say things like that, idiots. But if I'm being completely honest, the people that are most likely to be brainwashed are average intelligence and intellectuals. And you can look up studies on this. I've posted about it before. Anyway, moving on. It's what happens when you hear something that you like, even if it makes you mad. You want it to be true, and instead of looking into it, you go, oh, yeah, and then you run with it. Specifically somebody like Candace Owens, and people that listen to her, and Tucker Carlson too, but what Candace has done is so much more heinous. Long time ago, she was a friend of Charlie Kirk's. She hasn't been for a long time. He publicly denounced her. And since his death, she's been trying to make as much money as she can from his death. Please note she was not at his funeral. All of the nonsense and lies that she spews. Now, please understand, I used to follow Candace. I used to really like her. And then she started letting her crazy show and more crazy. And even though I liked her, I had the sense to go, let's look into that. That sounds pretty weird. She's always talking about how she's going to have proof. She has the receipts. She's totally going to show you. She never does. And the stuff she has, especially lately, been putting out is insanity. It has been for a long time, but specifically about Charlie Kirk. Now, the people who were actually friends with him and closest to him have put out objective evidence that she's lying. You can look it up. Feel free. But her, just like the libs, will say, isn't that weird? Isn't that weird? But she has the full information, but she'll take the bits that do sound maybe weird and just tell you that. And then people run with it without looking any deeper. And she is very, very good at dazzling, and it can sound convincing. But when you hear something pretty horrific like that, you need to go look further. She makes a lot of money for lying. So I don't care if you're a liberal or you're a conservative, everybody is susceptible to brainwashing, every single one of us, especially the way media works now. How do you defend against it? You check. You do your best, even when something feels really right and really good, and you don't want it to be wrong. Maybe you want the bad thing to be true so you can hate certain groups more. You should check. You should check before you say something out loud and admit to the world you're brainwashed. The actual Nazis, the widely overused word, blamed Jews for everything, every problem that was happening to Germans in the world over. And people wanted that. They needed somebody to blame for their problems. That's how it began. And then saying they were less human, and then the propaganda and the lies. That is why groups like Hamas associated with actual Nazis, because they had the same ideas about how to eradicate Jews. And the amount of people I see believing crazy-ass nonsense and twisting reality so they can fuel that hate is disturbing, and I'm seeing that grow and grow on the conservative side lately too. There's always been a tiny sect of actual far-right extremists that are anti-Jew, but it is most prevalent with liberals. Again, you can check. I'm seeing that grow. And it's your desire to not look past what feels good. I heard an argument, there were these groups of Jews, kids that spit on Christians in Israel. Yes. They are horrid little punks that are completely disavowed by 99.9% of Jews and Israelites. But what they fail to talk about is that happens in America. That happens in every country. But there are also Christians being murdered. I don't hear them talking about Nigeria. I don't hear them talking about Syria. I don't hear them talking about the attacks here in America on churches. So bullshit, if that's your fucking argument. Now, try going to a Muslim-run country. Don't pretend that you care about Christians and that's your reason for hating Jews and Israel. Clearly you don't. Clearly you don't give a shit about Christians. Clearly you don't know anything about the Bible. If you did, that would be the least of your worries. There's a reason why Christians take pilgrimages there constantly and have churches there and people live there. Just look into things. When you hear really shitty things in a way to get you to hate Jews more, it's just radical Islam, radical liberals working you over, and it's winning. Tucker Carlson now talks about Sharia law like it might be a slight inconvenience, but sounds pretty great. Yeah, you can look it up. You can look it up. Not very different from how he used to talk. It seems, the Daily Wire and Fox News kept Candance and Tucker from sounding too crazy. Once they broke free, we saw they're real crazy. Tucker Carlson not understanding what Sharia law is pretty fucking scary. Him comparing Charlie's murderer to Jews was a little unsettling too at a funeral. I muted him. I was watching it live. The funeral, I muted him and I watched it later. I was like, oh my God, I'm really glad I muted that. Just stop and think for a minute. I mean, it's one thing to criticize things. Just make sure you get all your information. I have problems with a lot of the politics in Israel. They're super liberal, super liberal over there. But not with how they defend and protect themselves. Look into it. Look into it. A lot of us knew this for many, many years. Most of you who are preaching for terrorist organizations just heard about this 2 years ago today, October 7th. You have no idea what you're talking about. And you are following terrorist agenda, just like the liberals. Whether you're conservative or whatever, just stop and think for a fucking second. Really? I mean, Tucker Carlson saying, oh, Bibi Netanyahu talks shit about America and Trump. Show us. Where? When? You really think Trump would put up with you? You're calling Trump an idiot. And it's like saying that people defend Trump. No, we defend the truth because you're insulting us as well when you say stupid fucking lies. Yeah, we're not running to defend Trump. We're running to defend reality and ourselves. Of course somebody calls right now. That's it. Just fucking think. You're brainwashed. Just stop. Just stop. Check. Just check. Just check. That's it. That's all I'm saying. You. Go check. Verify. Outside your bubble.